Hey everyone, it's been a little while since I did my last video, but yeah, I've been really busy with work and I've been working on this little project for a while. It's a bit of a mess, but I wanted to get this video out sooner and not leave it much longer. So this video is around loaders and how to create loaders in Figma. So that's kind of like if you're waiting for a screen to load, you've got that little spinning icon perhaps. Just to indicate that something is happening, something's loading, and it's just a visual representation of that, so you don't think that the screen is frozen. So they usually have quite a lot of movement, so you can see if there's any issues with the app performance. If it's stalling, you know it's either loading something quite chunky, or it's actually struggling and you probably need to reset the app. But yeah, so what I've got a load of different examples here, and we'll go through each of them. This is just a few different ideas. I tried to get quite creative with it. But first of all, we're just going to start with a basic loader. So if I just load the prototype for that, there'll be a lot of loading of prototypes. So here we can see it's just a simple loader and it's just going around in a circle. So if we go back to our Figma file, we can have a look. So I've got two of these and there's two options of doing that. This animation, exactly the same outcome, but two different ways of doing it. So the first is that I've got this kind of circle here, and it's got an angular gradient on it, and all I'm doing is rotating it by 90 degrees. And you can see it doesn't go above 180 degrees in Figma, so it goes down to minus 90 after 180 instead of up to 270. And if I press Shift E, we can see how these are animated. So after a delay of 1 millisecond, it will change to the next one. And we're doing it linear because we're having it go through all of these. So we don't want to have a curve because it will feel a bit stally. And I've set it to 300 milliseconds between each one, which is quite slow, so that we can have this nice slow transition animation. You could speed that number up and you could speed it up on all of them. So you can make it 150 and then it would go twice as fast, or you can make it 600 and go twice as slow. So that's how you'd create that. And we've got the same one here, but this time if I click in, go back to design, and we look at the rotation, we can see it's actually staying the same across all of them. So how does this one work? Well, it's actually in the gradient itself. If we have a look, you can see the gradient starts here. If I close this one, the gradient starts at 90 degrees, and this one at 180, and as you can guess, the same there. And this is the exact same animation setup as this one, so that's really easy to do. To create this kind of shape, all you have to do is press O, draw yourself an oval. You'll see this little circle here. You can pull this in, pull it into the center, like so. Whoops. And you can mess around with your circle from there. So we can bring it like this, or we can bring it all the way around. So it's just a really nice tool. From your oval, you can just build lots of different kind of shapes using the sweep and ratio here. So you can have it like that. It's got nice snaps at standard angles. So when you hold down Shift, it does kind of incremental. So you can build it like that, and then if we go back to our design, you can apply a radial gradient onto that, or an angular, which is what we probably want. And if we just make that a red, and that also the same red, but we'll make that 0% on the alpha, we've now got this nice gradient here. And as you can imagine, that would work quite nicely as a loader. So that's how you make those. And then I've just kind of grouped them into components and made them component variants so that I could load it into here. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. This is completely different. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it and explain it afterwards. So yeah, this is just kind of, you could use this for something other than a loader. It's not amazing, but it's just kind of a cool little way of using a wavy line as a kind of a loader in this case, or you could do it for something else. You could slow it right down, just add some nice details to a website perhaps, some animation, whatever you want really. And this is achieved by creating a line like this, and then this circle is a mask, and as you can see that line's quite long, and here you can see it's now at this end, and if we have a look here, we've got a 1 millisecond after delay, so after a millisecond it will transition to this one over 2,400 milliseconds and linear, but on the way back it's instant. So you've just got to make sure that even though the line is at this end, when it's at this end on this one, that this exactly matches this one, so that instant transition, you don't notice the line jumping or anything, it just instantly replaces back to there. So you can do a transform of this line going that direction, and as soon as it gets to that point and it perfectly matches this one, we can instantly snap back to it and do that again, and it just goes around in a circle like that. So how did I create this wavy line? Well, it's quite easy. In my plugins, I've got this Wave and Curve plugin, and you can just download this from Figma community, and it's called Wave and Curve, and you've just got a load of different settings here. Make that 0, make that 10, so that's variation, and then I don't know, let's make that 10 as well. And you can just make really cool things like that. So if we make that 1, there's no variation at all, they're uniform. Let's create, so that's the length between the curves, and the amount, so let's make that 100, and that's the height. And you've got the number of waves here as well, so if we make that 100, it might be too many, 30. Make that 10, ooh, not that one, make that one 10. There we go. So you can kind of mess around and create your curve like that, and you create it and it just drops it in, which is really nice. And it's a stroke, so you can go through and do anything you want to do with a stroke really, which is really cool. So that's how I created that. So next one, very similar to the first one. This time it's that kind of loader where the circle kind of moves around. And if I load this one. So this is a really common loader that you see in loads of UIs. And essentially it is just a circle rotated around. And if you want to know how to do a quick rotation of objects in a circle, it's quite easy. The way I did it, in Illustrator you can adjust the rotation point of rotation, so you can take this circle and you can move its rotation point down here and you can rotate it around that. I haven't found a way of doing that in Figma yet, so if you know a way, let me know in the comments below. That'd be really helpful. But the way I've achieved this is all I did was I created an oval. Let's make that 24 by 24. Whoops, it's already done that. And then duplicate it, create another one. Let's move them 100 pixels apart. And then all I'm going to do is group that. So now we know that the rotation point will be between the center of these. So all I have to do is copy it. So I've created a duplicate there. In fact, let's do it that way. Yeah, so you can see there's only one there. And if we go to, where's duplicate? Can't see it. Go to Command D, duplicate. So we've got a copy there. You can see there's a copy. And then all we have to do is rotate it, I don't know, 20 degrees. 20 probably wasn't enough. Let's make it 35 degrees. And duplicate. And then 70. and just make sure they are all centered together, and you can create it that way. So that's a really, really nice way of creating rotated objects. And then all I'm doing is changing which circle has the color. So as we go around, the circle changes and the other one changes back to grey, and I'll just load these up. And we're doing a smart animate, so it nicely transitions between them, and we're doing it linear again because we're moving through all as one animation, so we don't want to have it kind of stumble and stall between them. And after a delay, we will return back to the original, and it's an infinite loop. So that's a really easy one. This one's quite cool. This is a bouncing ball, and it uses a mask. So let's load this. There we go. So we've got a nice little animation where it kind of at the peak of the animation, it stalls and then speeds up as it drops and speeds up as it comes through. And it's also being masked, so it looks like it's going through a hole. And this is just a squashed oval with a gradient on it. So let's have a look how you create this one. So what have we got? We have got 3 parts. So we've got this object here, which is a rectangle with this ellipse that's cut it out. So we've got, if I just duplicate that over here, whoops, here we go. If I just duplicate this over here, we can see it's just got a cutout there. And then we've got this, whoops, let's just get rid of those a sec. This oval here, which sits perfectly on top like that. And it's just got a linear gradient on it. So it looks like it's getting darker, so it feels like it's potentially a hole there. And actually, I take it back, we're not using a mask here. What we're doing is we are literally just layering the objects in a particular order with the hole at the back so that the ball can go over the hole there. So if I hide this one a sec, you can see the ball is definitely in front of that layer, and then bring the front back in, which is this object here, and we can see that it's not masking it, it's just literally the ball is going behind it. And then the animation itself is quite simple. It is essentially an ease in and out, which looks like this. And then all I've done is I've extended the handles out quite a bit so that it really slows down that transition at the top and the bottom of the animation. So it moves quite quickly through the center, so it ramps up quite a lot. So the ball will move up and down really quick, but as it reaches the pinnacle, it will really slow down. As you can see, it really slows down here. And let's have another quick look at that. There we go. So that's a really, really simple loader. Some apps that do things like this as their loader are, I think the Moneybox app does it, and they just have a load of these kind of next to each other, and the ball goes up and down at different times. So that's quite cool. So if you watch my other video on how to create a 3D cube, which I'm not going to go into in this video, I will try and add a link above, or just search how to make a 3D cube in Figma, or just look through my channel, you'll find it quite easily. Essentially it's just made up of these 3 parts, so you've got to keep that. And this animation is kind of like a fake 3D animation, so we've got all our different cubes here, which are grouped. So if I just hide some of these, you can see it is a cube, and then we're just stacking a few of them together, and then we're moving them around in 2D space, but it kind of looks like 3D, which is cool. So it's like an isometric view, and we're getting this kind of 3D styled loader here. So let's load this one. So yeah, this one feels like it's a load of blocks just pushing each other around, but really it is literally just some 2D shapes. You can see some slight issues where the alignment's not perfect. You can see slight gaps. Maybe you won't be able to see that, but I can. So it takes a lot of time to line this up correctly. So this is probably one of the harder animations to create.
But if we have a look at the transitions, again, we're doing the after 1 millisecond delay, and we're doing it linear because we're doing this as one animation. So we want it to be linear, and we're doing that transition over 300 milliseconds between them. So that's a fun one to play around with. I had a go at another one with some blocks. Let's have a quick look. So this one is transitioning blocks together, but it's also scaling it so it looks like it goes down into one block. I actually wanted it to do a nice uniform scale, so it would come down to one block size and feel like all these blocks are creating one block, but it didn't quite work as intended due to the limitations of Figma. But it's another quite nice idea for a loading animation, and I don't think this would be too difficult to make in CSS. I don't know, developers might disagree with me on that one, but I've seen it done. I've seen this created purely in CSS, so it is possible. So yeah, all we're doing here is, you can see there, off the canvas. Here we just have the one, and here we have all the cubes together making one cube. So we're just transitioning between them, and that's how that was created. Last couple, these are just some kind of standard loading bars really. If we load this one. So we've got a nice fill, and then it's pulling the back up. So this kind of just like a nice little loading animation, and the other one, similar, but it kind of slowly ramps up and then speeds up towards the end. And also it doesn't pull it up this way like the other one did. So how do we do this? Again, this is quite easy. We have a look. What we've got here, we've got a mask. And what we're doing with that mask is, if we look at this other one, that mask is, so this stripy object is made up of loads of little rectangles all together, like that, and the mask is just creating the one shape from it. So it looks like a kind of loading fill. We've got this rectangle here, which is the background that's got a little gradient on it, so it kind of looks like it's inset of it. And then we've got the rectangle for the background. And the masked object is just being squashed. So what we're doing really is animating this object here, and that is our fill. And the way we've done the curves on this one is we've done an ease in and out. So from this one, it will do a nice ease in and out to this one. And then again, a nice ease in and out to this one. So that's the filling here, and then it emptying into this one. On this one, quite similar. After a delay of 1 millisecond, we're doing a custom one, so it slowly starts out and then it ramps up really quick, and then it's got a nice little ease in and out at the end. Whoops. So yeah, just play around with your curves, and that's how you can get these really nice animations. So that's just a few different loading animations that I've come up with. Let me know if you want me to share this file. I can share this publicly. Just comment below, and if, I don't know, 10 people ask for it, then I'll make it public. And you can do whatever you want with it. Let me know if there's any other loading animations you would like to see. If you'd like to see some other videos, that's certainly possible as well. Make sure you like and subscribe as well, that really helps the channel. It's been growing quite well the last week or so, but I'm hoping to grow it quite a bit bigger to make me want to continue making the videos. So the idea is to share design knowledge with the community. But it's quite a lot of work, and I've already got a full-time job, so squeezing this in as well is quite
quite tricky. So it's good to see it's helping people. So let me know if it's helping you, and I'll continue doing them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.